stand there and let Ray hit me, he'll hurt himself. Yes? So why do you need to, do anything? Because a fight is a fight. Sometimes what if Ray is trained more than me? Does it make sense or not? So I have to assume that Ray can hit harder than me, can kick harder than me, can grapple better than me, can use the blade better than me. That's why in the olden days, it's easy to fight people in the streets, because if you train, for example, you take anything, taekwondo, karate, or krav maga for 3 months, you'll beat any average person on the street who's violent towards you. Because if you train correctly, does it make sense or not? This is how it is in the old days. So people use silat as a self-defense, not in different periods of time. Some silat systems are violent because it was used in war. And then as peacetime happens, then that violent art becomes something for self-defense. Yes? Makes sense, no? Makes sense?
Yeah.
So it's the same thing like everything else. Same thing like everything else. So once it's peacetime, then the mindset of the people also change. So rather than use that durability in their body to hit people with, they just say, okay, I'm going to defend myself with that. So they take the hits and things like that to make sure that they use it as a bait, because in peacetime, I know he's not going to bring a knife. So in a place where there is law, just to bring a knife is already doesn't make sense. Why should I bring a knife? If the police catches me with that, then I'll be in prison. So some people, like in Asia, for example, the peaceful areas, when they're angry, they are, how do you say this? Like, being angry because you blocked his car or you stepped on his shoe, and then for small things, they're so frustrated, they want to pick a fight. So that's why during the 70s and early 80s, because of the law, in the 60s, there was a Silat group that started a revolution in Brunei. They want to overthrow the Sultan. So since then, we have an emergency law? Emergency law?
Martial law.
Martial law, like a martial law, where any martial arts has to be under a federation. And if you're not under a federation, if there is more than 3 or 4 people gathering together, if anybody complains it to the police, then the police has to come and disperse them, because it's illegal. An illegal gathering for 3 people to meet up. Yes? So because of the law, and it's still going on now. Because of that. That's why in Brunei, there's some systems are banned, because they were the one who, a system, how do you say this? A martial arts system became a school, and that school became a cult, and that cult wanted to overthrow the government. So that's why everything that goes through Brunei, it has to go through the correct channels, and that's why everything now has to be either sports-oriented or empty hands based in self-defense. What we do typically is not encouraged in Brunei because we're teaching weapons. But I'm not teaching people how to fight, as you see from the very beginning. I'm teaching people the culture and the intention of how to defend against a weapon by understanding the weapon first. Does that make sense or not?
Yeah.
Yes? But if you take a look at yesterday, it's everything is traditional training. From the correct stances, which part of the body that you need to tense, the correct, we call it gili or the twisting movement and things like that, the footwork, the basic sweeps and things like that. So, but the way we train how to defend against punches or anything that is from the top of the body, punch, hook, whatever, we learn it from the attack of the blade. Because that is what our art is, to defend against somebody who has a blade. So I'm not here to box with Ray. If I box with Ray, he'll kill me. If I kickbox with somebody, the kickboxer will beat my ass. Yes? But if he made a mistake in the first 2 moves, I can take a chance. I might have the opportunity to finish the fight, because that is what we are. The first 2 moves is life and death. Everything else, if you prolong it, then the higher risk that you will get beaten up or lose. Make sense or not? Because our mindset is the first 3 moves. That's why you have 4 single moves above, 3 single moves below, 2 variations above, 2 variations below for the what ifs. But your intention is to shield, to hit, to pass, to hit, to backhand, to hit, and to hit, and to hit. Because if you have a knife, I have a knife, that is all I need. Yes, that's why we have that specific targets. Because we live in more peaceful time in Brunei, and so also in most places around the world, there's no war tomorrow. So there is no pressure for you to train as if there is war tomorrow, unless you live somewhere in the Middle East. So that's why for us, when we train to perfect ourselves as a martial artist. So I don't worry about when people said, oh yeah, that will not work on the streets. How many street fights have you been? Oh, that will not work in a real knife fight. How many knife fights have you ever been in? I trained with a knife since I was 6 years old. I've never been in one knife fight. Yes, but when we train as if your life is in the tip of the blade. Same thing. Unless you look for trouble or you look for a fight, then you will be in a fight. Looking for a fight, not meaning that you're an idiot, meaning that, yeah, you can compete. You can join competition because that is your goal. Then your technique will work to the point of your goal. But beyond that, people bring weapons, people have friends, people, mass attack, mob attacks. Because back home in Indonesia, in Singapore, in Malaysia, the mindset of mob attack is more. There's never a one-on-one fight. If I fight Ray one-on-one, there's always somebody who's going to hit me with a chair from behind. So that's why our footwork is important, to make sure that I am not an easy target. So if I keep on moving, if somebody is walking behind me, from the corner of my eye, using the peripheral vision and my footwork, then this is why I said you have to understand how to look at aggression, not what's coming towards you. Once you understand aggression, it's easy to predict what's going to happen. But the thing is, just because you can predict what happens, doesn't mean you have to engage your prediction. So basically, if I know I'm going to get hit with a chair, I don't go to the guy and try to block the chair. I just try to use my footwork to get further from the chair and look at the person which is closer to me as more of a threat than him running towards me with the chair. Does that make sense or not? Yes? So that's why when you guys are doing this, yes, the first thing that you need to understand is that if he tries to punch me in the face, assume that he's armed. Assume that he has a knife. Because if you think that, oh, I can take a hit, I can take a hit, but I'll never stand there to get hit. So all the training that you guys are doing yesterday is to develop your legs, to develop your fist, to develop your floating ribs for those moments where your defense fails and you have to use what you train for. It's not your main thing to do. So if I say, hey, kick me, or Ray, that is only in training. But in real life, I will not let Ray kick me because I don't know how strong he can kick.